Preface of the Life of Washington, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Life of Washington, Volume 1 by John Marshall. Preface. By the author. A desire to know intimately those illustrious personages who have performed a conspicuous part on the great theatre of the world is perhaps implanted in every human bosom. We delight to follow them through the various critical and perilous situations in which they have been placed, to view them in the extremes of adverse and prosperous fortune, to trace their progress through all the difficulties they have surmounted, and to contemplate their whole conduct at a time when the power and the pomp of office having disappeared, it may be presented to us in the simple garb of truth. If among those exalted characters which are produced in every age, none can have a fairer claim to the attention and recollection of mankind than those under whose auspices great empires have been founded, or political institutions deserving to be permanent, established. A faithful representation of the various important events connected with the life of the favorite son of America cannot be unworthy of the general regard. Among his own countrymen it will unquestionably excite the deepest interest. As if the chosen instrument of heaven, selected for the purpose of effecting the great designs of Providence respecting this our Western Hemisphere, it was the peculiar lot of this distinguished man, at every epoch when the destinies of his country seemed dependent on the measures adopted, to be called by the united voice of his fellow citizens to those high stations on which the success of those measures principally depended. It was his peculiar lot to be equally useful in obtaining the independence and consolidating the civil institutions of his country. We perceive him at the head of her armies during a most arduous and perilous war, on the events of which her national existence was staked, supporting with invincible fortitude the unequal conflict. That war being happily terminated, and the political revolutions of America requiring that he should once more relinquish his beloved retirement, we find him guiding her counsels with the same firmness, wisdom, and virtue which had long and successfully been displayed in the field. We behold him her chief magistrate at a time when her happiness, her liberty, perhaps her preservation, depended on so administering the affairs of the Union that a government standing entirely on the public favor, which had with infinite difficulty been adopted, and against which the most inveterate prejudices had been excited, should conciliate public opinion and acquire a firmness and stability that would enable it to resist the rude shocks it was destined to sustain. It was to his peculiar fortune to afford the brightest examples of moderation and patriotism by voluntarily divesting himself of the highest military and civil honors when the public interests no longer demanded that he should retain them. We find him retiring from the head of a victorious and discontented army which adored him, so soon as the object for which arms had been taken up was accomplished, and withdrawing from the highest office an American citizen can hold, as soon as his influence, his character, and his talents cease to be necessary to the maintenance of that government which had been established under his auspices. He was indeed first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his fellow citizens. A faithful detail of the transactions of a person so preeminently distinguished will be looked for with avidity, and the author laments his inability to present to the public a work which may gratify the expectations that have been raised. In addition to that just diffidence of himself which he very sincerely feels, two causes beyond his control combine to excite this apprehension. Accustomed to look in the page of
Sample complete. Ready to continue?